Live here at Advertising Week. We're with John Coyne, one of Adobe's very own. He's here new from Goodby Silverstein and Partners, is now a Senior Director of Global Campaigns and Experiences here at Adobe. John, welcome.
Hi everybody, glad to be here. Mark, thank you.
We're excited to have you. We're talking this week in the think tank about this idea of the future of digital experiences. You've been at Adobe only 2 months or so. But
Not even.
Less. So talk to us about your relationship with digital experiences, with what you did as an agency partner before and what you're going to be doing on the Adobe side now.
Yeah, and it really speaks to why I made this transition from 25 plus years on the advertising side, working with big brands, global brands, dealing with CMOs on a daily basis, watching the struggles that they're dealing with, trying to prove the accountability and the efficacy of all the money they're spending, having to report up to the board, what's working, what isn't working, proving that all of that money is actually kind of being put to the best use that it can. And I very clearly saw this struggle that my client partners were having with trying to understand how to leverage the latest tools, all of the data, managing it, figuring it out, not being overwhelmed by it. And there was a lot of opportunity to just to help them figure out how to get the most out of all of the tools that are available to determine whether what we're doing is actually working or not. And just being in all of those meetings and all those conversations, I saw that actually the thing that worried senior marketers the most was the accountability part. And it used to be, when I started in this business, it was all about the idea, just had to have an amazing idea that was big and bold and compelling, and Goodby is really good at that. And then somewhere along the line, that became table stakes. Still have to do that, and not a lot of agencies and marketers are very good at that. But in addition to that, we've now got to make sure that we're putting it in the right place, and that it's responding to the people in the environment and creating the experiences that we actually want consumers to have. And that takes data and technology. That's the exciting part, and that's what Adobe does. So the more I sat and looked at this, I just said, you know what? Now is a great time to jump in with a company that's actually helping to make that possible. And that's what made me want to make the switch from the agency side coming over to Adobe. And I'm learning so much. I mean, Adobe's got even more and deeper capabilities than I was even aware, and I'm still figuring it out.
Well, we're excited to have you. Talk a little bit, as we look at this idea of the future of digital experiences. We know there's technology that enables those experiences. Marketers and advertisers are actually creating those experiences, and consumers are people that are consuming and experiencing them. What is the value of technology in this idea of digital experiences? Why does it matter?
It's amazing. I have worked a lot the last 15 years with some pretty large global technology companies, and working with their customers in the marketplace, big brands, big global brands. And the thing that has been fascinating to me is this understanding that companies have come to, and that is that every company, if it wants to succeed and compete and win in the marketplace today, has to be a digital company. If you're not a digital company, you're falling behind because your competitors are leveraging all of the latest technology and tools to find a way to get to market faster, to have an insight that's going to help them shift the product 4 degrees this way, outflank you, and you're going to be sitting there wondering, well, what happened? How did we fall behind? It's because you've got to be a technology company. Every brand has to be a digital company. So that's the shift I've seen, and it's just been amazing just seeing. Technology has always been amazing, but the fact that it's so much easier to work with, it's simpler, it's more accessible to more people in the organization. It used to be the IT group had to be the keepers of all of the technology and all of the infrastructure. Yes, they're still central to all of that, but yet it's easier for everybody to start accessing and working with, everybody in the organization, and that's what technology has made possible. So for me, that's been the biggest shift that I've seen is technology fundamentally is the platform that every company is built on today. And if it isn't, you need it to be.
You've already fallen behind.
You've fallen behind, absolutely.
So talk a little bit, we talk about the need for companies to be digital. We can get into this whole discussion about online versus offline. But today, really the conversation needs to be not online versus online, but the entire experience, no matter what channel or platform. So talk about that need for customer experience to be holistic and not just based off of online versus offline technology.
Yeah, I mean, we, as consumers, we all know we're all consumers. We don't live digital, we're not digital creatures, we're not physical creatures, we're just people who go through our lives. We're in stores, we're looking online. The other day I was in the store looking at buying a jacket. I don't traditionally do this sort of behavior, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to look it up. I'm doing some product research right there in the aisle. I'm comparing, and I'm like, okay, this product quality, everything seems great, reviews are great. Oh, I can buy it for 30% less over here. But the reality is the experience in the store was so great and so personal to me, and they had done a great job managing the kind of that in-store flow and experience and display and everything. That kept me actually there. And the fact that I was marrying the digital experience with the physical experience, I ended up doing the purchase right there. I ended up not showrooming and leaving and going somewhere else and buying it. And it was all because they were able to kind of bring it all together for me. And that is, that basically is the Holy Grail. And you've got to understand that I'm the same person in different places. It doesn't matter if I'm on my tablet or on my phone or my computer or I'm in the store. I'm me, and I want you to begin to be able to recognize that and acknowledge that.
That's interesting. So where does that conversation take us when we talk about personalization? So personalization's been around for a long time. But for someone for John Coyne, he's a person, whether he's on an iPad or on an iPhone or any other kind of device, you just want the experience to be what?
I want it to be one that recognizes that I have a history. I may have a history with the brand, I may have a history with the company. I may have been, I might have bought something from you before. I might have been on your site before. I might have been in your store before. And the more that you understand that those interaction points as a business is going to help you serve up something that's the most useful to me wherever I am in my journey. And that's what I want. I want there to be an acknowledgement that we have a relationship. And the brands that I feel the strongest about and have the most affinity for are ones I frequent. And I could probably name 5 or 7 brands that I have a lot of experience with. I frequent, I'm there all the time. I don't want to have to reintroduce myself every time as if I've never been there before. Sometimes you go to a restaurant and they'll ask, well, have you been here before? It's like, yes, I have. And then, but it doesn't really add anything to the experience. Like, okay, you've asked me the question you're supposed to ask. Yes, I've been here before. You've not added to the experience. It's not personalized in any way.
What are you going to do with that info?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? So that's what it's all about, is taking that information, taking that data, and actually doing something with it. Not just probing a customer on something and then it dies there. And that's part of the problem that marketers have today, is they have so much data that it's so hard to know how to draw the storyline through it and how to draw the real meaning out of it. And that's the hard part. That's the art and the science kind of coming together around data.
Talk briefly for me there about that last point where you talked about the art and the science coming together. Adobe has a good place in both sides of that spectrum. So I'd love to hear your perspective on what is Adobe doing to bring both the art and the science together to create a better and more personalized experience.
Yeah, well, again, one of the other reasons that I came to Adobe is that Adobe has amazing equity in creating content, in creating experiences, in creating in creativity, design. I mean, these are all the things that creators have used Adobe tools and products for many years to be able to create the most amazing content and experiences that are available. That's what Adobe has historically been, and now being able to take all those tools and all the technology that's now embedded in those, and being able to apply the science side that Adobe has now brought with the Marketing Cloud, and actually being able to have all of these tools work together in a cloud-oriented business model, that to me is very exciting, and that Adobe is the only brand able to do that, because no one else has those assets. And we're figuring out actually how these work together, because I think of it as it's content and context. So it's creating content, yes, but it's the context that you're delivering it in and I'm experiencing it in. And that context is a lot more personal, it's a lot smarter the more you know about me, the more it's infused with intelligence from data, it's going to make that content so much more effective. That's what Adobe does. No other brand does that, no other company does that. And that, to me, is ultimately what creating amazing digital experiences is about.
Brilliant. We're here again with John Coyne, who's a senior director at Adobe, has had a lot of experience with customer experiences over time. John, thanks again for coming and chatting with us.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
We'll be back in about 5 or so minutes to chat again with one of our other experts.